Lieutenant Governor Bisowitz. She has been detained and may be joining us virtually, but in the interest of time, I am going to get the meeting started. I hope you all enjoyed your nice winter break and are in good health. First, I would like to bring you greetings from my vice chair role by saying I welcome you to today's meeting. Um, I am wearing blue because it is, for those of you who don't know, Human Trafficking Awareness. And I always like to bring attention to that phenomenon and hope that you all will engage or have engaged in some learning around human trafficking, which plagues our society and even Connecticut. Um, I am beyond thrilled to see you all here, and your presence reflects our shared commitment to advancing the rights and opportunities for women and girls across Connecticut. We are proud of our collective efforts that have led to significant achievements. We've seen, as a result of your hard work, increased representation of women in leadership roles. We've seen advancement in pay equity and expanded access to educational opportunities in STEM programs. Our subcommittees have been instrumental in these successes in focusing in on the areas, as you know, health and safety, economic opportunity, and leadership development. However, this work is far from complete. As we all know, women continue to be underrepresented in various sectors, and challenges are still facing our great state. So as we move forward, it is crucial that we address these issues with a renewed vigor. And I am beyond excited to be in company with you and in collaboration with you all to move our agenda items forward. Um, just a couple of, we have a couple of presentations today, and we're very excited about that. I'm assuming our presenters are online. But before we turn it over to our presenters, a few housekeeping matters. We are monitoring the chat for any questions or comments. If you are present virtually and would like to speak or have something to contribute, please use the hand raising feature and we will call on you in short order. For our state agency commissioners and designees, we understand that you are busy and your schedules don't always allow you to be present at each meeting. If you have not already, please make sure to let my general counsel, not my general counsel, but general counsel to the Lieutenant Governor, Tracy, know of any new or replacement designees of staff that will be attending the meetings in the future. Or if we need to revise the distribution list. Finally, we are calling on increased collaboration and participation from our members in steering committees. If anyone has any ideas concerning topics for the meetings, presentations, events, or even recommendations for those of you for who you believe would make an impactful addition to the council or steering committee, include any of the subcommittees, including any of the subcommittees, please reach out to Tracy. You are here because we deeply value your thoughts and varying experiences, and we need them. We need your varying experiences to do the work. We will now turn the report to the council leadership. And I think I'm going to read a little bit of something unless anybody has anything to add. I'll start. As is noted on the agenda, this is the report from the council leadership. The 2024 annual COAG report is currently being drafted, and it will be disseminated to all of you upon completion. It will also be uploaded to the COAG website along with the annual summaries from years 2019 to 2023. The annual report summaries are meant to help members and designees of the council learn about the work that we have accomplished, the great work that we've accomplished so far, And most importantly, what remains to be completed. At this time, if we have Representative Corey Paris, are you online, Corey? It's a busy day for the representative. I don't know if you can tell from the chat if Corey is present.
I am not seeing him, so we could move on to the second presentation.
Okay. The next presentation, as perhaps Corey will come on a little bit later or come in a little bit later, is Heidi Weissman here.
Hannah Weissman, yes, I'm here.
Hannah, sorry.
No worries.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi, everyone.
Great. Are you prepared? We have Hannah Weissman from code.org, and she's going to be speaking to us about a proposal to fund computer science here in Connecticut. Hannah?
Yes, I am all ready.
All yours.
All right, I'm going to share my screen so I think all the Zoom folks will be able to see it as well. But feel free to interrupt me if there's any technical difficulties. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah Weissman, and I'm from code.org, and I'm really grateful to the Lieutenant Governor and this whole council for the invitation to talk about a really crucial issue for all students and folks in Connecticut, but in particular for young women and girls. So before we dive in, just a little bit of who I am and who I represent. So I represent code.org. We're a national nonprofit, and we do 4 things in the education space. We provide free curriculum, and then free professional learning for teachers, so they're trained on our curriculum and how to teach everything from kindergartners to 12th graders computer science. But then the second 2 things are what I'm really here to talk about, which is promoting computer science and education policy in general. We can't get our curriculum or any computer science curriculum in front of students if teachers and parents and the community members aren't bought in about why this is so important. And a lot of us in this room maybe are already bought in on why computer science is important, but that's not the case for everyone. And sometimes that's because no one's even talked to folks about why computer science education is so crucial for all our students, and in particular, why it's so for our young female students. So again, some of you might already be bought in, but always good to kind of rehash the arguments here. So why computer science? Why is this an issue for this council and more broadly for Connecticut? Computer science is now a foundational skill. If we think about the high school experience and just the school experience in general, we want our students to learn skills that are going to be beneficial in a variety of careers. School is not just about career preparation. It's about giving them the knowledge to interact with society and be informed citizens. And if we think about some of the things that students already learn about, certain biological concepts, certain concepts in math, we need to now add that. We need to add algorithms, how the internet works, how an app works. Even though all our students are certainly not going to become app developers or computer scientists, this is foundational literacy. Just like all our students learn how to do basic arithmetic. All our students learn how to read. Same kind of concept that this is foundational knowledge in the 21st century. We see some also really positive correlated results. We've had several different studies who show that computer science has a lot of benefits. Students perform better in other subjects, and a lot of that is because they gain problem-solving skills. For those of you who've not taken a computer science class, it's all about problem solving. It's all project-based. Students dive in and they figure out how to solve problems, from maybe really small problems to bigger problems such as are presented in the Lieutenant Governor's Coding Challenge, which some of you may be aware of. And every year, students from across the state sign up to do this coding challenge and submit apps that address a whole variety of issues that they're seeing in their community. And we even see that students who are taking computer science are more likely to attend college. And so benefits that all students should access, regardless of what career they end up going into in the future. And crucially, though, there is an economic imperative. That's not the only reason we should be talking about this, but it is important to note that there are currently more than 5,000 open computing jobs per month in Connecticut, and they have a very high salary. These are careers that we want all of our students to be able to access. And when students don't have that exposure in high school, well, they're less likely to take a class in college, or they're less likely to see themselves pursuing a career. So that early exposure is really crucial. And not surprisingly, we see that the younger we expose our female students, the more easily we're able to combat those stereotypes, right, of who can take computer science. I think about my own experience. I was really fortunate to have a computer science class offered at high school, but I was one of the only few girls in that class. And if that had been my only exposure, I might have not wanted to continue it. But I was fortunate to go to college and where the computer science was continued to be offered. And when I took high school computer science at the college level, I wasn't the only girl because I was attending a women's college, and being able to be around people who looked like me and see myself in this field was really crucial. And that exposure started in high school. But that exposure could have been so much more positive if I hadn't been the only girl in that class. And I know there's so many young female students across Connecticut who maybe are experiencing that, where they're maybe the only girl in a computer science class, or they're not sure they see themselves in this field. And I think something that's really crucial to point out is, this is not a field that's just for the big tech companies that we might think of. There are computer scientists who work in hospitals, who work in agriculture, who work in industry. And so this is really a tool to access the careers of now and the future, in whatever interest and area a student may have. So if we kind of think about all those reasons and think about, okay, well, where does Connecticut fit in? We're bought in on why computer science is important. What does the K-12 landscape look like in Connecticut? Well, we've got some really positive news in Connecticut, and we've got some room for improvement. So in Connecticut, we actually have 84% of high schools offering a computer science class. And that's really wonderful. So that's almost all students in Connecticut are attending a high school in which a class is being offered. Now, importantly, that doesn't mean that they're taking a class, right? But that's the first step, is that they're being offered a class and that they can choose to enroll in it if they would like. However, that next part is where we really need to do more work. Despite almost all students in Connecticut being able to take a computer science class, we only see 8.5% of them actually enrolling in a course. And this could be for a variety of reasons. It could be that there's only one section offered at a school, and so every student can't take it. There could be clashes with other courses. And we also know for a lot of students, they still don't know what computer science is. They're not sure if they see themselves in this field. And for them, it's just a course of many courses on their course catalog. So how do we get that second group? How do we get that 8.5 to be much greater and much higher for representation? And not surprisingly, right, if we think about who those 8.5% of high school students in Connecticut are, they're not representative. They don't look like this room. They don't look like the whole state. They are students who are more predominantly male, students who were more predominantly white or Asian, or higher income. And that means that we're leaving out so many students from these opportunities. So in Connecticut, like a lot of other states, we see that young men are significantly more likely to take computer science than young women. And then in Connecticut, the biggest racial gap is for Black students. We also see really big gaps around low income as well. So while there's a lot of positivity in terms of the offerings in Connecticut and the availability, we see that not a lot of students are taking up those opportunities. And that's really where that gap is, and what we really want to solve to ensuring that we have a diverse economy and that all students are having the economic opportunities that computer science brings. And so that brings me to why I'm here with you all today and the exciting things that we're talking about. So despite a lot of the great work that's gone on in Connecticut, as I said, there's room for progress, particularly around legislative efforts. So if we look at our neighboring states in Connecticut, I'm just right up in Massachusetts, so on your border, and you see that Connecticut, percentage-wise, is similar where other states are, right? Pretty similar to its neighbors in terms of the percent of high schools that are offering. But there's one thing that Connecticut really lacks compared to its neighbors. And that's this funding piece. 40 states in the country have actually funded computer science at the state level. And so that means that the legislature has allocated funding, in the case of some states, millions and millions of dollars for teacher professional learning. And what's really crucial about this is we don't just have a crop of computer science teachers right now. We need to train and equip the teachers who are in the classroom to feel comfortable to teach computer science. There's many teachers who have backgrounds in math or science or even humanities who with just some professional learning are able to teach an intro class. But that funding is crucial to provide those trainings at no cost, to ensure that substitutes are covered and that teachers are really prepared when they go in that classroom. And that's really the thing that sets, again, Connecticut apart from its neighbors. A lot of great work has been done, but to get to that next 16% of high schools, and importantly, to get to all of those students who aren't taking the course yet, we need to look at funding professional learning. And very excitingly, I am here because we have a bill that has been introduced by 3 legislators, and it's to fund computer science professional development. And so it appropriates a little less. It appropriates $930,000 for professional development across the state. And we estimate that this would impact about 20 districts. So about 20 districts would be able to apply for these grants to train their teachers. This might be for districts where there is no computer science, or districts where they want to train more teachers and want to ensure that they're offering the correct number of courses to meet their students' needs. And I think crucially, if we think back to the number of young women who are not taking computer science, we want to make sure that these teachers are trained and are excited about having a diverse student body, about bringing all students into their classroom and meeting those needs. And so as I finish up, my ask to all of you is a call to action. Whether that be directly supporting our legislation through letters or testimony, calling up your representatives, whether they be the representatives who are introducing the bill or your representatives in general, to say, please support this action, to talk about why computer science is so important, particularly for girls and young women. If there's also other ways that you can get involved, you're welcome to reach out to me directly. I'm going to put my email in the chat, but any kind of positive momentum that we can gather around this, whether again it's reaching out to representatives, posting this on your own social media or your newsletters, each of us has a community that we can tap into. And we'd certainly like to get Connecticut so you're not sticking out amongst your neighbors. We really would like to get that funding passed in Connecticut. It's one step of many to really getting computer science in front of every student. So again, the bill is 852. It's been introduced to Senate and House. And so please reach out to me if you have any questions, but really want to call everyone in this group to action. I know you're all dedicated to ensuring better workforce and education experience for girls and young women. And this is a crucial area where there's still a lot of great work to be done. So thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. What a great presentation. You brought me back. I might be dating myself to high school when we had home ec. The girls went to home ec.
Mm-hmm.
Guys went to like auto, and
Absolutely.
any other older people in the room that can relate to that? So your point is so well taken. Early exposure is so critical, and we don't want Connecticut to be an outlier. And
No, not at all. So
Um,
really appreciate, I'm going to put my email in the chat. You'll all have the presentation, but please reach out. However, your organization or as an individual, we'll take any and all support we can get.
And for those not online, you'll have access to the chat if you go back into the invite. I think will they have access to it, or should we, for the people in person, how to contact Hannah if they have questions? You'll send around the email. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any questions for Hannah before she leaves? No questions? We're good? Oh, we do have a question. Okay. Hannah, you still there?
I am.
Excellent.
Sorry, Hannah, I have to give you my back. Thank you, Commissioner. You spoke about the presence of these classes, computer science within the high school setting. I'm wondering how we're doing in terms of middle school settings and really introducing the idea of coding and robotics and other kinds of activities for young girls.
That's a great question. And I think to clarify, while I talked about high school, it is important K through 12. Unfortunately, while we get really good data at the high school level about courses that are offered, we don't get that same level of data at elementary and middle schools. And it's not for the great work that's going on. It's just because of how the data is reported. So unfortunately, I don't have an equivalent number that I can share with you at the middle or elementary schools. What we do know anecdotally, I said it's taught less at middle schools and even less at elementary schools. And yet the research shows, particularly for girls, even by the time they're 8 years old, stereotypes about who is successful in STEM or engineering. So while I don't have the specific numbers, it's absolutely crucial. And this funding is not just for high schools. This funding, should it pass, districts can use this for elementary and middle school teachers as well, which is really crucial to getting computer science in front of all students. So unfortunately, I don't have a specific number, but we do know there's a lot of great things going on in Connecticut, elementary and middle schools. And it isn't in front of every student. And we'd like to see there to be exposure at the elementary and middle school level, so all students feel empowered to take these courses at the high school level.
That was an excellent comment / question. We have another question.
Yeah, just a reiteration on the importance of access and opportunity for girls to engage in these STEM opportunities. So for example, when we're thinking about the future of the workforce in Connecticut, that's our future, right? It's the elementary school student, it's the kindergartner. So we have to be thinking 20 years in advance. And so when we're thinking about quantum computing, when we're thinking about AI and all of these things, we're talking very basic about computer science, but it's very complicated. And so if we don't start introducing these concepts earlier, we're going to not even be able to complete globally, but not even in this hemisphere. So I wonder what we could be doing more to elevate the issue as more of a concern and more of an urgent crisis than something that's a nice to have or elective.
That's an excellent point. And Hannah, I don't know if you want to respond to that, but just on a personal note, like my 2-year-old godson can do more on a phone and a computer now than I did when I was, last year almost. I mean, the kids are far more advanced and the technology is far more advanced, and it does raise the question. Hannah, did you want to respond to that comment?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such an excellent comment. And I think that's where, would really, look to all of you all to help raise the urgency. There's often aren't folks that I speak to who don't think it's important. Everyone's kind of bought in on the importance, but really raising it to that level of urgency, right? About this is ensuring that we are prepared for the future and ensuring that future includes every student. And so we know at the moment in Connecticut, when these courses are offered and not all students are supported or see themselves in it, we don't have classes that look like this call or look like the whole state. And so that urgency is really crucial. And I think, sadly, we all know that even if we pass funding today, that's not going to impact the kids who are in the classroom today. It's going to impact the kids in a few years. And so that's why we can't wait another year to roll out this funding. And we see states that when they have allocated funding, there's a real difference in terms of how many schools are offering, how many students are taking it. But every year we wait, we lose several years in terms of that implementation.
Excellent. Thank you. We do have another question. Do you want to approach the podium? Yeah. Oh. I should have said state your name. That would be great.
Oh, my name is Dalianne Hemmings, and I'm sorry to have to give you my back as well. But my question is, I know we saw some of the data for the neighboring states to where we are, and I know we anecdotally feel a lot that children are far more advanced now than generations before them as it pertains to computer science. But where are we when we look at that even internationally? Like, I'm just curious to know where we are on that whole spectrum.
I was
Yeah,
the
that's a
same
question.
thing.
So, I would say internationally, I'd say it's even a bleaker picture. So internationally, there are many countries that require all students to be getting computer science instruction K through 12. So Thailand, South Korea, Brazil, China, they're requiring every student, whether those students go on to college or not, to get instruction K through 12 in computer science. And so, if we went back to that graphic comparing Connecticut to the neighboring states, if we blew that up and we're comparing Connecticut or the United States to different countries, we're really falling behind, right? Other countries are not only allocating millions and millions of dollars, but they're requiring every student to get that exposure. And so this is a real opportunity for us to ensure that our education system is meeting the moment and ensure that our students are prepared for these jobs. And a lot of other countries have recognized the importance of this. And I think crucially, those countries don't always have the same tech industry that we do. So they're preparing their students even though they might not have the same level of jobs that we have. So really crucial. And while it can feel daunting, I will say we see for states that, this can get turned around in a couple of years. A couple of years of funding, training teachers, the impact can be felt really broadly. And so this is certainly something where we're not too late, but we do need to act now.
Okay, we have another question. You want to state your name?
Yes, my name is Colleen Carter. I'm wondering because during my time, not that I'm trying to say I'm dated, but computer science actually was in the tech schools. It really was not in the regular schools. So in today's world, our students are so far behind. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Are so far behind. I'm not quite sure how we're going to actually get it to the level that we need it, because yes, it needs to be in the tech schools, but it also needs to be in the regular schools, because we are behind. When you go other places, they have, like she was saying, children on their phones. My 9-year-old knows more about my phone than I do. And there should be other things out there. We have our girls are so advanced in a lot of different areas. We have to bring that advancement into the way in which we want them to go. America is not known for its technology anymore. It's known for its sexuality. So we have to change that, and we have to change that not only in the school system, but even in our own cultures and our own homes.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for that. Excellent conversation. I think I would say, Hannah, you have some support from the council, I would say, it sounds like. Any other?
There is one question in the chat from
Okay,
Commissioner
awesome.
Russell Tucker.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear
Yes.
you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. And Commissioner, a great job. And Hannah, thank you for the presentation. I just really wanted to put in the space, and I got on a little late, so if I missed it, but I did put it in the chat as we get to learn more about Connecticut, that I did put the computer science dashboard in the chat. And it is correct, it's grades 9 through 12. However, there's a lot of rich information here that you can literally find information for every school district. You can disaggregate the data by race, ethnicity, high needs, student with disabilities, and by gender. So you can actually see how a particular school district is doing. We aggregate data by what is offered, but not just what's offered, but the participation rate. So if we want to, work together on addressing these, we really have data at our fingertips that can truly inform where we are. I know somebody asked about the technical high schools, that we can see that. So every school district, the courses that are offered, the participation rate, the disaggregation of the students who are either participating or the schools that are access what they're providing, we can know that, we know that. And I think it helps us to be informed and how to work together based on what was just shared. So I just wanted to put that in the space so folks know what's available.
And I just want to, say from the national lens, this data is so rich. And I think one of the things that's exciting in Connecticut is we're building off, there's such a strong foundation. And we're really excited that this legislation would help just to come and build off that strong foundation. Not every state has a dashboard like this. And so for anyone who wants to be an advocate, this is really great data for you all to look at to see, as the commissioner noted, what's going on in your school district, for if you're talking to your legislators, what's going on locally is really crucial. And I think that's where we feel that this funding is going to make such a difference, because the foundation is already there, and the department's already shown how strong the investment is. And this amount of funding really is helping to get those additional districts over that hump and get more students enrolled in these courses.
Thank you so much. It's a wonderful conversation. Do we have one more? I want to move on to the next presentation. but
Yes, I
this
just
is the
quickly,
last
I
one.
would be remiss if I did not plug the Lieutenant Governor's Computing Challenge, which is another endeavor that she has created so that we can encourage computer science all over the state. This past year, we had over 2,000 submissions from different students, grades 3 through 12, who were able to present apps and different computer science modules in the competition. And although 2,000 submissions is many, that only represented 18 school districts out of the, I think, close to 140 school districts that Connecticut has. So I just wanted to also make sure that you all are aware as of November 18th that that challenge is open and will culminate in the challenge celebration in May or June of 2025. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I also just want to take a point of privilege to thank Commissioner Russell Tucker for always being prepared with data and responding in real time. So thank you for that. And the challenge is on to get more submissions. So thank you for that, that bit of information. So we're going to move on in the interest of time. We have with us the one and the only State Rep Corey Paris, who is going to present to us on the effects of student loan debt on women and girls.
Thank you, Commissioner. My apologies to the Commission for being tardy. I appreciate the grace that you all are extending me for being able to still present. I was stuck in appropriations with Tony Walker. When Tony Walker says to sit down, you do not move. So my great apologies to all of you, but I do extend a great thanks to the acting chair of this commission and also to the Lieutenant Governor in her stead. I'm sorry, Hannah, I see why I was set to go first. I understand that I had the more dire and depressing news to deliver while you had the more upkeep and robust news to deliver. But Connecticut, as was stated, is a great state, and we have a lot of great opportunities in our state. The challenge that we are now facing today is that student loan debt is the most crippling kind of debt that is affecting women and girls in our state. I say that again, it's not medical debt. It is not credit card debt. It is student loan debt. We see a greater and higher rate of women graduating from universities and colleges all across this country. Women are earning degrees much faster than their male counterparts. And that's even higher for minority women, for Black women, for Latinas. They're earning their degrees at a higher level than their white counterparts. But the issue is that on par, what usually happens is that 10 years after they've taken out a student loan, and this goes the same for most minoritized borrowers, but 10 years after they take out a student loan, women, white, Black, brown, Asian, whatever the case may be, have only paid off 10% of their student loan in comparison to 90% that is paid off by white men. Let that sit with you for a moment. A decade after you have taken out a student loan and started your repayment, white men have paid off 90% of their loans, while women of all races have only paid off 10%. Now, the other reason why this is so important is because it affects the bottom line for women in terms of their earning power, and it also affects how their household budgetary and financial situation might pose for their future. For example, many people, all people, but certainly with women, and we see a lot of discrimination, for example, in the car buying business, their student loans, because of the debt to income ratio, determines how high their car payments will be. It determines how high their car insurance rates will be. It determines their phone bills, believe it or not, of how high that bill and expense will be. It determines their credit score, believe it or not, because if you're not paying on your student loan, it does not show off as discharged. It just shows as not being paid, which means it grows your debt to income ratio, and it looks like you are not an on-time payer for the debt that you hold. This is crippling women from being able to not only start businesses, but to have the choice to raise a family, to make that decision to raise a family, to buy homes, and to be able to, quite frankly, go off to find other professional avenues in case they may want to go after another degree. I will tell you right now in the state of Connecticut, we have 500,000 student loan borrowers. Many of you may think that they're young people. They are not. I've met many of these people every single day in my travels across the state and in my district. The oldest borrower that I have ever met is 77 years old. She is 77 years old with $67,000 left in student loan debt. Not for a degree that she has held on her own, but a degree that she signed a Parent Plus loan for in support of her child. She is never going to pay off this loan. And so what we have here in Connecticut is 1 in 6 residents facing an average of $35,000 to $40,000 of student loan debt, that they're never going to be able to get rid of that. And if you are a woman or a person of color, it's almost impossible for you to ever see that erased in your lifetime. We jokingly say that Barack and Michelle Obama paid off their student loans the year they entered the White House. They had been out of law school and undergrad for more than 20 plus years. Imagine what that might be for your family members, for your young ones. And in the state of Connecticut, we have the 5th highest amount of student loan debt in the country. Our student loan debt across the 500,000 borrowers totals $18.7 billion. Now, I ask you to think about this. What would that $18.7 billion, if forgiven, what would that do for our state's economy, for the programs that we care about that help many of these people that we care about thrive in their lives? But more importantly, how much more prosperous would this state be if the borrowers who hold this debt would have that debt forgiven or a pathway out to be able to see some of that debt taken down? And that's what we've worked on here in the legislature over the last 2 years. There was a student loan reimbursement program. The non-attractive name for the program is called SLURP. It rolls off the tongue and it makes one believe that they are going to 7-Eleven for a Slurpee. But the student loan reimbursement program was a bipartisan program. And this program is not an all-out forgiveness. This is a first of its kind in the nation program that now has had a lot of folks from Kansas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, from all over the country trying to replicate this program. And essentially what this program does is says, if you are a borrower and you've attended a public or private institution, or you have received a trades certificate in the state of Connecticut, and you have lived here for 5 years. Now think about this. Your kids could have been born here and been here their entire lives. That's already done. Or you could be a person like me, where you decided to come to Connecticut to go to school. And I did 3 years of school at my college, Western Connecticut State University, and I stayed for an additional 2 years. Well, I've now satisfied that 5-year requirement. You also have to, and let me take a step back. You don't have to have graduated. That's the other big problem that we're seeing with our young people. Many people are taking out loans and not completing the program because they have to go away for health reasons or to be a caretaker for their family, or they just cannot afford college. And so we say to those borrowers in this state, if you did not graduate, but you left in good standing, and you can prove through your institution that you left in good standing, you qualify. Secondly, you have to be a working individual. You can work for a hedge fund in Greenwich. You can work for Starbucks down the street in Hartford, but you have to have worked for at least 2 years. And we're asking you to reinvest in your communities. We have a great shortage, workforce employment and development in our state, primarily with nonprofits, with childcare centers, with medical industry entities. So we're saying to folks, if you get involved on the local level and you commit 50 hours of community service over the course of 1 year to that nonprofit, and last but not least, if you excuse me, I'm going to vote and talk at the same time. Last but not least, if you pay up to $5,000 on your student loan in any given year, so now you've done the student loan, you've paid up to $5,000, you've now done 50 hours of community service, and you've qualified in every other way, the state will reimburse you back up to $5,000 of your money. What does that say to a young person? And you could qualify for this program up to 4 years, getting $20,000 back in reimbursement. It says that Connecticut is investing in you, that we're trusting in you. But no, not only are we trusting and investing in you, we're asking you to take that money and buy a home, start a business, invest it back into childcare. It makes no sense that we require that in order to be a childcare provider in the state of Connecticut, you have to hold a degree. So you're spending nearly $50,000 plus to go get a degree to be a certified childcare provider, but you're not making any more than $26,000 a year, and you're stuck with about $70,000 in debt once the interest accrues. Makes no sense. In addition to that, the repayment is the biggest issue. We see the cost of living today. I'll use myself as an example. And yes, you can laugh at me and smirk at me. I understand I am an idiot for this, but I had to go to school, like many of you have had to go to school. And I make a decent income, probably more money than my grandparents ever saw or my parents might have seen. But I'll tell you this, my student loan repayment each month is $1,252 a month. $1,200 a month, not including rent, not including transportation, not including gas, insurance, and let alone food. Imagine the mother in my district whose son has special needs. Her child care program is $800 every 2 weeks. And not only that, but she has $73,000 in student loan debt and is paying $900 a month for her repayment. The 77-year-old woman that I talked to you about earlier when we started is literally paying $670 a month, and she only lives off of Social Security. This is a very real epidemic and problem in our state, and this student loan reimbursement program seeks to fix and right a lot of those wrongs. Now, many of you may think that a lot of young people were the ones knocking down the door to try to get some of this forgiveness. I can't tell you how many parents have called me saying that they are going out into their communities, they are volunteering in their communities, and they're going to get the reimbursement because they've been paying on their kids' loans. I can't tell you how many parents have called local nonprofits who have reached out to me saying, hey, we've got all these kids who all of a sudden want to do all this community service for X, Y, Z reason. But when they've started the community service, they're also learning the hard and soft skills that they cannot get on a college campus. That makes them more employable. It makes them more attractive for our state and for our workforce. And so programs like this is what's going to help make a difference in shortening and lowering the disparities for women and girls all across our state. It's equitable. It will help people of all different kinds of races and ages, but more importantly, from academic backgrounds. And more importantly, we have $6 million for the program this year. It will put $6 million back into our state economy. I dare one of you to find me one program in this state that would put $6 million back into the economy while leveling the equal playing field for women and girls in this state. You will not find one. And that is why I implore each of you, one, to pay your student loans, even though it hurts. Two, get involved with your local nonprofits if you have student loans. But three, tell a nonprofit about this program. Tell those who are volunteer firefighters, who are serving on their school boards, who are serving in their churches. That counts. But make sure that we're doing all that we possibly can to attract our young people and their parents, sending them to a school here in our state, but letting them know that there's a pathway out and finding a reprieve and relief from the debt that is crippling Connecticut families all across this state. Thank you.
Oh, I want to applause. Do y'all?
No applause.
I want to applaud. Thank you so much for your compelling just information. And it's an invitation for us to change the narrative on something that I think we overlook sometimes, but has a profound impact on women and girls, and particularly those people of color. So the process, we're nice and clear
Yes.
about how to apply. I just want to make sure. I know we have a short period of time, but I just want to make sure we get that information
It'll
out.
be very quick. I get so passionate about the issue that I forget to tell people how to apply. The Office of Higher Education is hosting this program. They are overseeing and implementing the program. So if you go to ohe.ct.gov, you will see the student loan reimbursement program application there. You can fill out the application, upload all of your necessary and supporting documents, and they are moving as quickly as they possibly can to get those applications approved and out the door. Last count, I believe we had about 2,000 plus applications in its first week, and the program went live on January 1. People from all ages were applying, but they've had nearly 3,000 to 4,000 phone calls and or emails on a daily basis about this program. So we are asking that you get that you apply and that you try to get approved as quickly as possible. There are some changes through the program that we'll be making through policy this year, and those changes will only help expand the scope of the program, which will allow for folks to be able to have a hardship waiver. Because what we're also seeing is that the Biden administration nationally had forgiven some 30 million people for their student loans. Well, only 34,000 people in the state of Connecticut received that forgiveness. But what's happened is that none of them have actually paid on their loans because it's now upheld and it's held up in the courts. Representative Rader is one of those people.
Mm.
So for many people who want to apply for this program, but they've not been able to pay towards the loan, we have to give them a hardship prerequisite that will allow for them to qualify for the program even while the courts are still deciding what they will do. Thank you. Ma'am.
Excellent. So that information will be made available to every.
Right? We have to have a certified grand list for these veterans exemptions that are not correct. Fucked in the following year, right?
Yes.
They were supposed to fix it, and they didn't.
We're
so
asking
please,
for
but we
everyone
please,
online to mute.
Today's the
please.
31st.
The media roll call for that, and what you said. The media roll call for asking for the 50%.
Put a release out. I want to.
I'm sorry, we are asking all online to mute, please. Thank you. Thank you.
The media roll call for the decision.
It's outside.
Emails.
All righty, in the interest of time, I think we're gonna move along. Thank you for that. I don't want to
We gotta push it.
stifle anybody who has
I
questions.
said, well, we should push out. Municipalities have to certify the grand list until this is fixed.
Yep.
'Cause
Yeah,
once
there
we
needs to be a
certify-
solution. Yeah, no, I totally agree. There needs to be a solution.
Heather,
we can
Yeah,
hear
they
you.
don't care. They just leave these towns hanging like they always do.
Well, stop playing politics.
Okay. We're all
Thank,
set.
thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. In the interest of time, I'm gonna try to get you all out of here on time. Are there any subcommittee chairs present or their designee who have a report to share? I think the answer is no, but I just want to make sure. Thank you so much. Oh, we're good? Okay, all right. So on to the announcements. The remaining dates of our 2025 full council meeting, all of which will be held on a Tuesday at 3 p.m. in this room, are as follows: April 8th, 2025, July 1st, 2025, and October 14th, 2025. So Tracy has begun sending out the calendar invitations for these meetings. Please note that the legislative session has started, as you can hear. And for those of you in the room today, I'm sure you've seen that there is a lot more traffic happening and activities on our Zoom as well. So please plan accordingly, because as I said, traffic will be heavier than normal. As for subcommittees, I will now announce the meeting dates for the first meetings of 2025. So Economic Opportunity and Workforce Equity, February 4th at 3 p.m. on Teams. For the Leadership Subcommittee, it's March 18th at 3 p.m. on Zoom. For the Health and Safety Subcommittee, it's March 10th at 10 a.m. And for the Education and STEAM, it's February 18th on Teams at 3 o'clock. Tracy or a subcommittee chair will send out calendars to these meetings if they have not done so already, if she has not done so already, or the committee has not done so already. Finally, we appreciate your patience as we work through our website updates. We ran into some snags migrating from the old website to the new. All meeting dates, agendas, and minutes will be updated and added to the website as soon as possible. So in the 7 minutes that we have in the room or virtually, I would like to open the floor to any announcements that anyone has.
On next Tuesday, February 4th, we will be having a press conference in the Hall of Flags in honor of International Day of Zero Tolerance on FGMC, female genital mutilation. There is a bill out this year and we have bipartisan support on it. So I'm hoping that those can join us. We'll be in the Hall of Flags at 10 a.m. next Tuesday. The Lieutenant Governor will be present as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to introduce myself since I'm new to the body. I'm Jennifer Barahona, Deputy Secretary of the State, replacing Jacqueline Cozen, who, if you don't know, stepped down. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Any other announcements online? We clear?
There's one in the chat, Alicia Spearman.
Similarly, my name is Alicia Pegues Spearman. I am the new CEO of Girl Scouts of Connecticut. I'm new to the commission in this role. I was on the commission when I worked for General Dynamics Electric Boat. It's very nice to be back, and it's cookie season. So if you need cookies, I'll put the link in the chat. But nice to be here with everyone again.
Put the information in the chat and welcome, Alicia.
Thank you.
Oh. Anyone else? Look at that, 5 minutes to spare. For me, that is a luxury. So thank you for a very interesting meeting, very useful information presented, and always good to see you all and be with you even virtually for those of you online. Have a great rest of your week and rest of your day. Take care.